What's up, everybody, and welcome to the first VOD review of Chapter 3, Season 2. We're going to be learning a lot. This is from the first session of the Duos Cash Cup. We're going to be watching Ajerss and Khanada trying to take in as much information as possible while still trying to relay helpful information that you guys can use. So let's dive right in. They're landing greasy, they're conned off spawn, and let's talk about and see how exactly they're going to play this. Alright, so these guys obviously choose to prioritize this western side of Greasy. We see the other team takes basically the southeastern side. I've chosen to play that middle building with all the splashes, but obviously these guys are looking at it differently. So they're going to start looking to take out this team here. And we see them already using the new mechanics of tactical sprinting a lot. So Ajerss is going to get into this fight, start the engagement. We see Khanada is going to go around to the side. Use the AUG to get some beams on players. And they're slowly going to pinch in, trying to close this position. We see they're constantly looking for it. Ajerss using that SMG. He gets the elim. Gets cracked though, so he's going to back on off. Looks like Khanada is going to be able to finish this up. Ajerss chasing. This guy's going to escape for a little bit, but only so long. And then the chase begins. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Trying to get in the car. He's 1 HP. GG's, bro. Alright, so there's your off-spawn win. Now they're just going to go ahead and loot up. We'll speed this up. As you can see from the timeline of these guys, there's not too much more that happens. Actually, it does look like Ajerss is going to pick up a knock here, so see exactly how that happens. Looks like players to the north as of now. Maybe these guys rotating in. Yeah, looks like there's a chase happening. Ajerss just going to pick one up while these guys rotate in. Yeah, it's a free one. Got to take those when they happen. Now we see actually Jock and Illest going to rotate in, trying to get in a potential engagement here. There's a stalemate. And then Khanada and Ajerss just going to look to disengage this. They don't necessarily want to get in this full engagement. Another team's coming in. That's Shadow and me too. So they're just looking to full disengage, get out of this fight. And you have to build in these kind of engagements now, especially with the AUG. It just absolutely shreds you. So if you're not building, you're going to get hit. That's just the name of the game at the moment. And these guys are kind of shambles right now. Khanada is in a good spot. He has a decent bit of mats, but Ajerss is not in that same spot and definitely lacking lots of materials. So they've recognized this. They're going back to this taco hut. I might call it burger on accident, but trying to get all these mats. Smart little play here. So if you guys recognize, he's hitting the edge of this. There's also buildings all across the map that have a similar like edging that you can grab for metal. So in case you didn't know that, there's a little hint right there for you. Now these guys have put themselves in a decent position. People are trying to rotate behind them, and they're just going to get on out of here, building on their way out, making sure they're not getting shot at. Perfect little disengage. They got elims. They got some mats, not a ton. But he got the metal. That's the most important part. You can farm brick and wood all across the map. So obviously they're not going to prioritize that. He gets his metal. That's something I would recommend to you guys, is prioritize what you can get out of your POI that is not available at other POIs. And if that's going to be metal, it's going to be metal. We see now they're prioritizing farming, just trying to get their mats up. We'll speed through this. You guys don't need to see them farm. One thing I do want to acknowledge is that this team is using these rotates with the vehicle. I think this is going to be very important during these games, is using vehicle rotates. And we definitely want to see this more often from other teams, because if you're not using that, then we're going to be struggling to get that kind of info. So make sure you're using vehicle rotates that you can. Obviously, there's better vehicles than others. The IO cars are the best, but if you can't get one of those, just take what you can get and use that. So we have almost 70 players up in third, so we're not going to see Surge, but this is a pretty stacked game for the first round of a Cash Cup. Now, I want you guys to recognize what they just did here. They were in zone, right? They could have stayed where they were at, but they didn't want to play from that poor position down low. When they saw an opportunity, they rotated up north, grabbed themselves further into center of zone, and I'll just let this continue to play, and then get themselves a better elevated position. So now they have not only more information, they can get more tags, they refarm some brick, and they're more likely to pull the next zone. And if we look at the map, almost all the players are located around this hill. No one is on the north side. And then these players have just found their way down below here, likely are stuck in those positions. Once we get to fourth zone here, or maybe fifth, I'll slow this down. Doesn't look like they're doing much besides just looking for tags. We do know that they were able to get 3 elims. They got even more tags along the way from some other players, so they're not necessarily hurting on damage. And we see that move that was previously they were going to be right on the edge of zone and had to rotate in. Now they're in zone on kind of dead side here because all these teams are going to rotate here. So they're in a really good spot looking to hold these last few teams or a couple of players on the outside here. And this is something I really want to key into. Now, you guys may not realize what's happening here. They're testing the walls. So you can sneak these AUG shots in between walls if they're weak enough and it's the perfect amount of shots. So I want to see how these guys manage to do this, and if they do try and do it. Looks like that's not going to happen now, but I would imagine at some point players are going to learn how to sneak shots in between walls. The double sprays, the triple sprays are always important. You can easily do it with 2 SMGs, but I also know that the AUGs will go through walls if you time it right, so I just want to see how that plays out. Now we see them looking up at the height team, trying to understand what's going on up there. Honestly, not too much. And these guys looking for more potential players to hold while rotating, but everyone on their side is already in zone. It's going to be the other side of zone. So I'll speed this up. We don't need to watch the last minute here. All right, I was going to speed this up and go past this last minute, but we do see, looks like Ajerss and co are down below on Surge. So these guys are going to try and get in a fight. Ajerss actually gets beamed from a different angle while trying to expand. So it's going to be up to Khanada to hold off this Surge fight. Get some tags here, just a quick little shotgun shot. And we see he's trying to hold, not do too much, extend for his teammate, give himself some space, and now put damage back. This is always really important, and Khanada is one of the best box fighters in the world. So we see him put damage back and then close back up, and these players are now on the back foot. They're not in a good spot. They're going to start to get ticked by Surge, and then Khanada is just continuously putting damage. So quick peaks, damage, and then close up, and that's just going to be the recipe for success here. So they're going to do it again. This wall, both walls are going to be continuously grabbed back and forth. They trap Ajerss here. His teammate has the edit, so Ajerss can't escape. Now this other guy still has to make a play because the Surge damage is coming, and Khanada and Ajerss just right through his face. When you're getting ticked by Surge and you're fighting 2 of the best box fighters, it's going to be really tough to try and fight in this position. So Khanada and Ajerss do a really good job of being patient, taking your shot, getting your damage, and just waiting until these guys are weak enough to get an elim. Now, all that said, let's look at zone. These guys are only a couple boxes away. They have all these extra mats from the team they just eliminated. So they're going to be in a really good position, probably just going to extend on this layer or similar to it. And yes, they are going to extend similar to this. Again, building in metal. When you're in endgame, you want to base in metal. Otherwise, people will spray out brick. Brick is a vulnerable position. We see these guys going for another double spray here, getting a tag, not too much. Khanada just looking, seeing what's going on around you. This is really important in the game to see what's going on, understand where other players are. And when you're in this position, you want to make sure you identify players on your layer, players near your layer, and then players that could be a problem. Khanada, one of the best at doing that. Now we'll look at the rotate that happens here. They did pick up a pad from that elim, so likely just going to use this pad on the first rotate. Ajerss just chilling, protecting his boy. Khanada looking at the rotate. This is pure IGL. Khanada now taking over. And all he's really doing is making sure that the players above him aren't going to block the launch. But first, they're going to take some shots, try and get an elim out of the air. The AUG is ridiculous at doing that. It just scoops so many elims while players are gliding. It's so dangerous to glide now. Don't see anyone else on the backside, so now they're going to make their own rotate. And actually, by waiting this long, they're able to grab another player's pad, save their own, and basically going to be able to hit the pad all the way in the zone, which is amazing. We see Khanada going for the double dip. Ajerss right behind him. So they both take a little bit of damage, but they have the heals to not be a problem. Play a pretty high layer. It looks like they're second height at the moment. And that's a fairly free rotate. They're still really good on mats and have their launch pad. So you see they're going for plays. They get Teo and Pledge lacking. Those guys were looking below, steal their wall, cone their box. Easy elim right there. And that's all you have to do is identify plays like that. That's how you continue to get refreshes and push yourself forward in endgame. Now Khanada has absolutely max mats. Almost went to make a play on height, but he says, nah, I'm good. And now just going to play second height here. Again, in hard mats. You don't want to get sprayed from the height team. Ajerss looking to get with him. He winds up getting a lot more damage than Khanada did on the rotate. Typically, it's the second person that pays the price, so no wonder Ajerss got sprayed a lot. Khanada starting to chop height here, looking to potentially make a play. And I imagine they would. They do hit the pad. See that height is still in a really good position. And even though he's taking damage, they're not panicking. They're still extending in a good spot. They use the armored walls to wall off that other team. And then just continue moving forward. Dropping layers. No longer wanting to play second height. It looks like they're giving up their height plays at this point. And now looking to make plays. Nobody's in here. They actually do find Fatch down below. But doing so together, we see them make that play. They're both spraying, attacking the same person. That's so key in these end games because a lot of times all it's going to come down to is you're doing more damage and taking more damage than a single person can do. And if you do that effectively, it's really strong. Khanada drops the armored walls for Ajerss because it's important to have those on the backside of the tarp. So having a person that does that is important. They're still really good on mats too. 150 mats between the two. Now again, trying to cut somebody off. They find Tyler. Little cone piece. Still trying to chase him. They need to be careful, but we see he's still building the entire way. It's not just like, okay, boom, I'm jumping in this box. He's building, piecing the entire way. Again, trying to find Shadow here. They wind up paying the price, so they're going to slow down. But it's the constant pressure and effort to try and get these elims that I think works so well for these two. Because instead of just like chilling during endgame, they're always looking for elims and trying to put pressure on people. Now we find Nerfus, both getting the shots. They synchronized. Why does that? Whatever. Shooting at the same time, right there, getting the elim. Now continuing pressure, and they're just working their way down. It's important now, 9th zone, we see it's going to go down. You want to stay on higher elevation during these like 7th, 8th zones, 6th, 7th, 8th, because there's so many hills and you're on a hill. But now that we see zone is going to pull down, you could start to pressure and work your way towards the bottom layers. It's not as important to be as high as you were before. And we're already in a top 10 situation. We've used a ton of mats. So now it's going to be up to these guys to look to make a play. This is what being aggressive gets you if you're not able to scoop all the refreshes. They got a couple of elims, but not able to get all the refreshes. Now they're just going through old builds here. And they're shooting ahead so that way they don't get piece like what just happened there. That player actually took the piece above them. Khanada's forced to go through that just because of the way zone's pulling. And now Ajerss has to sit back and play zone with one flopper. He's got like no mats left, so this is just a desperation play at this point. And that's going to be a GG's, but that's well played. We see them playing super well together. And their key to the key to their success really started with trying to grab that higher position in 3rd zone. And then just the constant pressure and almost poise they show during endgame. Ajerss going down eventually, but a really solid game and an absolute stacker of a first Cash Cup. A lot to learn from him. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, YouTube recommends one of these videos. Thank you for watching, and peace.